This is a speech addressed to troubled youth that might be struggling with drugs and alcohol that I will be presenting in a youth diversion program. And it starts off like this. Hello, my name is Jose Guzman, and I'm here to talk to you guys about something that has been normalized in our society in this day and age, drugs and alcohol. I know, you're probably thinking, another one of this don't do drugs because they're bad for you speech. And well, as bad as drugs and alcohol can be to your development and chemical balance of the brain, the problem does not start there. But before we continue, let me introduce two terms that you might or might not be familiar with. The first one is generational trauma. This is the impact of a traumatic event that can influence children, grandchildren, and even the community. What this means is that if your parents or grandparents or even the people they were around experience some type of traumatic event, this is affecting you indirectly and you might not know it. The second one is childhood trauma. This is when a child witnesses or experiences violence, neglect, physical abuse, emotional abuse, or sexual abuse. So if you ever experience any of these or watch somebody go through them, chances are you have childhood trauma. So you can understand a little bit of where I'm coming from. Let me take you back to my birth. My dad was an alcoholic and my mother was traumatized due to her mom being murdered at the age of 15. Definitely not the best circumstances to raise a child, but kids can't pick their parents, and at the end of the day, I love my parents. This is an example of generational trauma. When I was 5, while I was riding in the back of the car with the ice chest full of beer next to me, I grabbed one, I chugged it, I rolled down the window of the car and threw the empty can out the window, just the way I witnessed my dad do it in the past. I don't remember much about the experience, but if I had to guess, I would guess I was having a good time. Plus, my dad thought it was funny. At around the same age, my parents were fighting, and my mom picked me up and held me in front of her so my dad would stop hitting her. It worked. This is an experience of childhood trauma. My parents split up when I was 9 years old. There was a few rough years after that, and at the age of 12 I started hanging out at the park with the older kids that had similar background as myself, and I was also introduced to marijuana. It all started as something social after school and to have a good time, or so I thought. By the time I was in high school, I had already piled up significant childhood trauma and pain. Together with the generational trauma already embedded in my DNA, it became unmanageable to a teenager with zero life skills. In high school, I was introduced to cocaine, crack, and meth. Meth and I became good friends. We spent a lot of restless nights together, and it kept me from minding my childhood trauma and pain. And at the age of 19, thanks to meth, I was caught up in a drug deal gone bad, where I was the middleman, not knowing that my friend, who I was trying to score dope for, owed the connection money, and he had been dodging him. When the connection saw who my friend was, he slid a small rifle out of his sleeve and shot him on the leg. And because I was scared that if I testified against the shooter, because they might do something to my family or myself, I was charged under the theory of setting up the whole event, which is the reason why I'm here in front of you today, wishing that I would have asked for help with my unresolved trauma over self-medicating myself to numb my pain, wishing that I could have mustered enough strength and courage to find somebody that cares, or simply just talk to somebody. I hope my experience gives you something to think about, and you're able to confide in me or any of my brothers in blue and seek help if you're struggling in this area, because you are not alone, and as much as it might feel like you are, and because we care. Thank you.